Hello friends, today in this video, in last video we have seen the concepts of state, sovereignty, then nation and all. Now in this video we will see the next topic, that is the special factors of a state. So in this particular thing there are certain special means regional factors. So in this particular topic we will see these particular factors which are there for a particular state. So which are that factors? So there are 4 to 5 important, or basically to be more precise, it is 4 factors basically. So what are that factors, special factors? First is the location, second is the, what we can say, the size, third is the shape. So one addition is the buffer zone. So we can say 3 to 4 basically the factors are there which are there for the state. So first we will move to the first factor, that is the location. So particular location is an important thing which plays for a particular state. So in that particular thing, in locations there are 3 to 4 locational factors. So what are that? First is astronomical location. So what is meant by astronomical location? Now we have seen that India, for example, India is a state. So for India, so what are the locational factors which play an important role? So first is astronomical location. So what is astronomical location? Astronomical location is nothing but the latitudinal as well as the longitudinal location of India. Means what is the extent of that particular country? So that is the astronomical location. So for India we can say India extends from 8 degree north, 8 degree 4 minutes north to 32 degree, roughly 32 degree north, parallel of latitude, as well as from we can say so this is the latitudinal as well as longitudinal location of India. So if we see longitudinal location, roughly 60 degrees to 96 degrees longitudinal location is there. From Kanyakumari to Kashmir, from Kutch to the Arunachal Pradesh, or till Assam or Arunachal Pradesh. So this is the latitudinal and longitudinal location. It is nothing but synonyms for that is the astronomical location. For each and every country in the world, each and every state in the world, the astronomical location plays an important role. How much is the extent of the particular country, latitudinal wise as well as the longitude wise. Next locational factor is the relative location. Now we have seen the astronomical location. What is meant by relative location? Like related to something. So relative location is in relation with basically the, like one state, same thing, we take example of our country, that is India. So in relation to what? India is located in relation to which water body? India is located in relation to which countries? So that is the relative location. So talking about the relative location, it is related in relative location to any water body, in relative location to its neighbors. So when we talk about a particular state, whether it has an access to a water body, whether it has an access or not. So why I am saying whether it has an access, why it is an important factor? Because water body, ocean body, or any sea water body, if a particular state has an access to that particular body, what happens? It plays an important role. Why? Because we all know that water body plays an important role for sea trade. Whatever trade in the world goes on, it goes through the sea routes. So that from the point of view of the trading purpose, the state having access to the water body is always an important thing. So that is one of the relative locational factors. Second is the how many neighbors that particular state have, and whether that neighbor are its friend or its foes. Means whether the neighbors are friends or are enemies. Like for India, there are 7 to 8 neighbors. So out of that neighbors, we all know that one of our neighbor is an enemy, means our India's foe. So that relative location always plays an important role. Where you are situated, who are your neighbors, it all comes under the relative location. So the next locational factor is the strategic location. So what is this meant by strategic location? A particular any part of a region or any part of the world or any part of the country has a particular region which can be strategic. What is the term strategic? Means it has a significant importance. One example can be given of strategic location like USA, United States of America. In 70s they acquired Diego Garcia Island in Indian Ocean from Great Britain, and in this way USA gained control of or gained command over the Indian Ocean region. So this is the strategic location of Diego Garcia Island, which has given USA the strategic hold or command over the Indian Ocean. Next thing is that from Indian point of view, it is the India has its command over Lakshadweep Islands and Andaman Nicobar Islands. So that these islands are strategic islands for India. Why? Because it gives India a command over Arabian Sea and over the Bay of Bengal. So this is the strategic location, locational factor of a state. So I have given an example of India as well as USA. Next and the last locational factor is the buffer zone. So this is also an important term in this particular branch of geography. That is, buffer zones are nothing but a political realm or a region which are situated between two important rival neighbors, two powerful neighbors. They are situated between two powerful neighbors. So one example can be given of Nepal and Bhutan. Nepal and Bhutan acts as a buffer zone between India and China. Why I am saying buffer zone? Because Nepal and you all know that Nepal and Bhutan are pretty much underdeveloped countries. They are pretty much smaller countries, and they are situated between India, big rival countries like India and China. So they act as a buffer zone between India and China. So this is all about the first locational factor of spatial factor of the state. Second spatial factor of state is size. Now talking about the size, like any country has, this is one of the another important factor, size. What is the size of a country basically? So when we talk about the size of a country, there are three sub factors in that, or different sizes of the country. First is large size states, second is the medium size state, and the third is the small size states. So we will talk one by one. First is the large size states. Now we can say that in our world, if you go through the atlas, world map, we'll see different sorts of shape, different sizes of countries. So one of the size is the large states. Large states means what? These countries, these states has large area. The examples for this are USA, then what we can say the Russia, as well as China, as well as Canada also. So you can see in this particular world map, USA, then Canada, then Russia, then China, all are the large state in the world. These are the examples. So what are the peculiarities of the large state countries? Basically they have large areas, as they have large areas, they will be having great amount of natural resources, and as they have large area, they also have large populations. So all these factors can lead to basically there is a possibility that large states always lead to prosperous states, or we can say large state can at the last leads to basically developed countries or developing countries, or we can say in short it becomes a prosperous countries because of the fact only it has large natural resources as well as population is also, labor force is also large. So that is the large states USA, Russia, China are the examples. Second is the medium states. Now, medium states mean what? They are not even large also, not even what we can say, it is not even smaller also. Say they are in between, intermediate size states, that is called as the medium size states. So this more than half of the countries of the world are basically medium size states. So the examples for this particular medium size states are France, Great Britain, Germany, Japan and all. So if we take these examples, France, Great Britain, Italy, Germany and all, as well as Japan, the first three are superpowers, means they are superpowers, and the last, that is what I stated just now, Japan is a leading economic power. So in this particular, if we see the superpowers of the world, only kept aside developing countries I am talking about. So keep aside USA. All other developing countries are medium-sized states like France, Great Britain, Germany, Italy, France and all. So these are the medium-sized states. Another peculiarity of the medium-sized states is that they basically are having greater centrifugal force. Means their forces are directed towards the central part. So that is the another benefit of the medium-sized states. The third benefit is that they are politically viable, means they are politically stable countries, medium-sized states, and as they don't have more plural societies, like most of the time it has been noticed that medium-sized states has singular what we can say societies, like they have one religion, one language and other culture, one culture. So that's why they are politically stable also, culturally stable also as well. So these are the benefits of the medium-sized state. And the last thing, this is the small-sized states. So small-sized states basically we can give examples like Netherlands, Israel, then there are a number of examples in this particular part. So Belarus, Ecuador and all. So these medium-sized states are pretty the small-sized states are pretty much smaller in areas. They have pretty much smaller areas. So these geopolitically they are basically they have strong social cohesion. As the area is pretty much smaller, the social cohesion between the citizens is pretty much stronger. The next thing about the small size states is that this particular countries, these particular states have these are with the exception of Netherlands and Israel, all other small size states are having one sort of economic activity. So that is the one of the peculiar thing. The next thing is that these particular countries are politically not viable, means they are always subjected to political instability. Why? Because they are smaller in area. The other neighboring big countries can influence them. They can wage war against them. So that is the one of the drawbacks of the small states. So this was all about the size or spatial factor of the state. The last spatial factor of the state is the shape. Now we have seen the location factor, we have seen the size factor, and now the shape. How is the shape of the country? Now you have come across, you have seen a number of times, you have gone through the atlases, you have gone through the maps, world maps, different country map. You see the size of the country. So there is a classification in this particular, you see the shape, there is a classification in this particular shapes. Different type of shapes of the countries or states are there. So these are the 5 important shapes of the countries or states. So first is compact, second is prorrupt, third is elongated or attenuated, fourth is divided or fragmented, and fifth is perforated. So we will talk by one. First is compact. Now you can see in this chart, basically the first is a compact, this is the compact one. So compact means what? It is pretty much we can give examples of, again we can give example of Bulgaria, we can give example of France and all. So these are pretty much compact size states, shape states. Means what? What is the meaning of this particular thing? The meaning is that the central part, the geographical center part of the country has minimum, lengthwise minimum boundary. So that is one of the benefit of this particular compact size, compact shape states. Second benefit is what? First benefit was the less length of the boundary. Second benefit is that as it is a compact size, as it is a compact shape, the communication and transportation in this particular states or in this particular countries are pretty much well developed or well communicated. Different parts of the countries are well connected basically. Social integration, religious integration, cultural integration, linguistic integration is pretty much larger in this particular part. As the compact shape countries don't have peninsula or protruding areas, that's why communication and transportation is pretty much easier in this particular countries or in this particular states. So this is the examples: France, Bulgaria, Romania and all. So that are the compact countries. Second shape is the prorrupt shape. You can see in this chart the prorrupt shape. Basically, what is the prorrupt meaning? Prorrupt means from a main body a certain object is prorrupting from the main body. So you can see in this particular map of Afghanistan as well as the map of Namibia. So in these two countries you can see this little portion which is prorrupting from the main body. Means it is a narrow portion of that country which is prorrupting from the main area or mainland of that particular country. So that narrow part is called as a prorrupt shape. So that is the prorrupt shape. So examples are what we can say, the Namibia as well as Afghanistan. One of the drawback of the prorrupt shape is that whenever there is a prorrupt shape which is extending from the main body of the country, the neighboring countries can there is always a danger that they can annex that particular part. They can just cut off that part from the rest of the country and they can conquer that part. So that is one of the drawbacks, or we can say the dangers for the countries which have prorrupt shapes. So the examples were Afghanistan as well as the Namibia. Third shape is elongated or attenuated. Means what? Elongated. Elongated is nothing but like examples of this particular shape countries is Chile as well as Italy. So the definition of elongated countries is that the length of the country, or we can say it should be more than 6 times more than the width of the country. The length of the country should be more than 6 times the width of the country. So this condition is satisfied by the countries like Chile. You can see in this particular map, it is an elongated shape. That is in South America there is a country called Chile. So the latitudinal extent is pretty much larger and the width is pretty much smaller in length. So that is the elongated one. Also one of the examples is the Italy part. So that is the elongated shape, or you can see also call it as attenuated shape. So it is nothing but on one axis the country is located. So that is the examples. Fourth shape is the divided or fragmented. Now this is an important thing you can see in this particular chart, that first in above it is the Pakistan country, state, and the Indonesia part. Now in this particular thing, I am talking this Pakistan, it is pre-1971 Pakistan. Means it was, Bangladesh was not formed at that time, it was West Pakistan and East Pakistan. So at that time that country was having a shape of fragmented or divided shape. Why? Because one part of the country was West Pakistan, second part of the other part of the country was East Pakistan. These two parts of the country was divided by 1400 kilometers, which was in between these two parts was India. That is the states of Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh and Bihar and West Bengal. So 1400 kilometers between the two parts of the country at that time. But afterwards Bangladesh was formed and hence the fragmented shape was dwindled. The next example is Indonesia. Now you can see in the world map also in this particular part, this is the Indonesia part. So this is basically fragmented islands. There are more than 1000 islands in Indonesia which are fragmented, means they are separated from the water body from one another. So that is the another example of the fragment. What is the difference between these two fragmented shaped countries? The pre-1971 Pakistan was continental fragmented shaped country, means within the continent it was fragmented. And the second thing is the Indonesia, means it is insular fragmented state, means it is an island and it is fragmented. So that is another example of fragmented are the numerous countries like Philippines, New Zealand, then other sorts of countries, Japan also sometimes. So these are the fragmented countries, because Japan, apart from these four islands, Hokkaido, Honshu, Shikoku and all, it has another numerous hundreds of islands. So that are New Zealand also. So that is the examples of the fragmented shape states. And the last is the perforated shape. So what is the perforated shape? You can see in this last image in this chart. You can see the first image or first map is of, this is not, obviously it is not to the scale. So this is the map of South Africa. So you can see in this particular world map, this is South Africa, and in between this is a small circle you can see in this chart and in this map also. That is the country called, within that South Africa, a small area is covered by Lesotho country. So South Africa is a perforated country, and the Lesotho, which is engulfed in South Africa by all four sides, it is a landlocked country. That Lesotho is called as a perforating country. So always whenever you talk about the perforated and perforating country, the country at a disadvantage is a perforating country, which in this case is the Lesotho. There is one another example of India also, perforating and perforated. India was perforated country prior to 1960s. Why? Because there were certain fragments of areas like Goa, Daman and Diu, Pondicherry and all. These were perforating parts. Why? Because they were once, at that time they were ruled by Portuguese or French and other colonial powers. But after they left, the whole these parts became a part of India. But prior to 1960s, 1970s, it was India was a perforated country, and the other parts, that is Goa and all, was a perforating parts. So these all are the special factors of a state: location, size and shape. So hope you have all understood. Thank you for seeing, and please subscribe my channel. Thank you.